Well, for decades, Americans have viewed political violence as the kind of thing that troubles other countries, sadly, but thankfully not our own. That's not the case anymore. Across America, the diehard anti-Trump resistance has repeatedly embraced violence as a means of silencing their enemies or simply expressing their rage. Kevin Zeese is the co-director of Popular Resistance. It's a protest organization that has called for massive civil disobedience, occupation, and general strike actions with the aim of making this country, quote, ungovernable until President Trump leaves office. He joins us tonight. Kevin, thanks for coming on.
Happy to be here. Good to see you.
So what's your home address?
402 East Lake Avenue in Baltimore.
How would you feel if viewers who disagreed with what you say tonight showed up at your house and started screaming at your kids?
I think they'd be I don't have any kids there, but they'd be targeting the wrong person. I'm not a public official. I'm not putting in place proposals for changes in law like Ajit Pai is that favor his former employer, Verizon. He's a Verizon lawyer.
I should say the reason I'm asking the question is what you just alluded to. Ajit Pai is the FCC commissioner who's backing policies you disagree with. And so you and a bunch of other people went to his house and hassled his family.
We didn't hassle his family. No,
well, by definition, yes, you went to his house.
No, we were at, his house is off the road behind another house, and we were standing outside on a public sidewalk holding signs saying support net neutrality. We were not threatening anybody. We're not
I'm not saying what you did was illegal. I'm saying it's awful. I'm saying, look, I'm saying.
No, it's not awful. In fact, we did the same thing to Tom Wheeler when he was the FCC chair, and it helped to finally convince him to do the right thing.
Because you're threatening him at home.
The problem is,
I mean, why not go to his office? Why not write a piece for the New York Times? Why not come on this show?
Because Ajit Pai does not listen to the people. He's already made his decision. He's going to repeal net neutrality so people cannot choose where they want to go, when they want to go.
So
they're going to let Comcast do it.
I get it. You disagree with the policy.
No, you don't get it.
No.
I disagree with his approach to how, because he's going to start a rulemaking proceeding on Thursday. But he's already decided the issue. He's going to.
How do you know?
Because he said it. He's made public speeches saying
so he's got opinions, you've got opinions, but the point is, you're going to his house, that's a threat.
He's no longer a Verizon lawyer.
Okay, again, I'm not here to defend his views on network neutrality. I'm here to defend the idea you can have a reasonable conversation without threatening someone.
The reason we have to go to his house is because he will not listen to the people. He has shown that over and over again.
Who's the people? How do you know you represent? Why do you represent the people more than he does?
We had more comments ever in the last campaign.
Comments on some like website or something?
On the FCC comments page, 3.7 million comments in the last campaign to get net neutrality.
Well,
when Tom Wheeler didn't listen to those people, we went to his house too.
Well, but hold on.
Because we have
his
to have
candidate won a presidential election. You didn't.
Doesn't matter.
Well, of course it does. That's our system, no?
The system also requires an administrative process in order to make rulemaking decisions. And you have to allow people to make their comments. You have to evaluate those comments fairly. You can't go in with a biased opinion. Ajit Pai comes in as a Verizon lawyer, still acting like a Verizon lawyer.
What I'm saying
we want him to hear us.
What I'm saying.
We want him to hear us. He's not listening.
Why not just hit him in the face then?
Because that's not going to work. We want him to hear us.
But if it did work, would you?
We want him to hear us. We want the movement.
If it did work, would you?
I'm explaining the answer to you.
Yeah.
We want him to hear us, and we want the movement to build. And the movement doesn't build, and I don't think with violence. I don't think that's going to be an effective tactic.
But it is implied violence when you show up at somebody's house. Of course it is. It's a threat.
We intentionally made no threats.
So what about when you see these people on your side of the issues, smashing store windows, dressed in masks, hurting other people? I don't understand. You're a lawyer, you're a reasonable guy, you've been in politics a long time. Why don't you stand up and say, you're discrediting me, what you're doing is immoral? But no one ever says that because you agree with their aims.
No, what we do is we understand people have different tactics and people have their choices of tactics.
Is that a legitimate tactic?
I do not, in my view, our goal is to build a mass movement.
Look at what's on the screen.
You don't build a mass movement with those kinds of tactics.
Is that a legitimate tactic to smash windows?
That's not an effective tactic.
Is it legitimate, morally legitimate?
That's up to the people who organize it.
So it's okay. There are times when using violence in America.
I've never used violence. We've never advocated violence.
I'm asking you a philosophical question, which you're capable of answering.
I can't answer every question on when violence is appropriate or not. If someone is under attack and defending themselves, is that violence?
There is no
lots of questions
other
about that.
side in this. These are people destroying property. They're not under attack. They showed up with weapons, and they're destroying things that don't belong to them in the name of a political aim. Is that ever legitimate in this country?
You know, to me, it's not effective, and that's what it comes down to.
No, because there's a moral question here. You're used to arguing on moral grounds. That's what you do.
The effectiveness. I actually prefer to argue on factual grounds, like with net neutrality, which I came here to discuss. But you know.
But look, what you're doing when you show up at somebody's house is you're ending a discussion.
No, we're starting a discussion. We're forcing
You're intimidating the crap out of somebody.
We're forcing him to listen to us. We're not intimidating. We're not out there with a bullhorn. We're not out there threatening. We're not doing anything to threaten anybody. It's not a harassment.
I hope you don't show up at my house. And you wouldn't be bothered if people showed up at your... If they watched this show and they said, you know what, you are a public figure, you're affecting my life through your advocacy on policy, and I'm showing up at your house in Baltimore, and I'm going to hang out there and yell at you until you change your views.
Let's see what happens.
What would happen? What would you do?
I would ignore them.
You would, really?
Yeah, I totally
Trying to sleep, bullhorn, yelling at your wife? How would you feel about that?
I'd ignore them.
I wouldn't.
Because in the end, they're going to lose. That is not an effective tactic.
Well, that's awful.
This is just one tactic of many we're going to be using this net neutrality fight.
Okay, well, I hope your other ones are reasonable.
It's about saving the free market. You know, that's what this is about.
Okay, look,
and your viewers don't understand that, don't hear about it. And now you wasted all my time on something that's not even the issue.
You wasted my time by, rather than arguing your point, hassling a man at home.
No, the issue is net neutrality good or bad for the economy, good or bad for the
See, I think that's a fair question, but I can't even hear you when you use tactics like that. Okay.
Well, you should open your ears up, and we could have a really good discussion about this.
Get away from people's houses. Kevin, thank you.